electrodes to surround the area. I want to surround that area, but I just can't do it. Either the size of the electrodes, or maybe there's it's a shoulder. I want to treat right here, but where the one electrode would go, there's some broken skin or some kind of raspberry thing, and I don't want to put E-stem over that. That will just aggravate it. So you kind of go, okay, what's the next best thing? Which will be the next waveform, which says pre-mod IFC, which is an imitation IFC, or interferential IFC, which we'll talk about in a second. So Damien is going to set up, and let's have somebody else set him up with quadpolar interferential. You guys decide if you want him to.
Where do you want?
If you want an arm, or if he's comfortable taking his shirt off, that's up to him.
Doesn't matter to me. I can do it arm, I can do it shoulder, I can do it back, I can do it.
Taking the shirt off would probably be better if he's comfortable with that, just because you can get a bigger visual, say on his back.
Go ahead.
You know, at this point, it's just whatever he's comfortable with, and you just a bigger visual so that you just understand the principle of the interference. Well, let's say his hair.
Just say, yeah, you really don't want me to rip these off of you.
No.
I've shaved enough guys. I've given a wax job to enough guys over the years that you really would rather not.
Okay. So can you guys see what she's doing?
So where's the area? Can we identify the area first?
What's the area? Well, okay, let's just say this is for whatever reason. That's the target area. We don't want to put an electrode directly over there, so we're surrounding the area.
So if that's our target area. Break your X pattern.
So your pulse rate.
So this is one.
And do keep in mind something else. The distance between the electrodes does affect the depth of the current flow.
Okay, so if it's
the distance between the two electrodes of any one given channel does affect the depth of penetration. So
the number of times it goes in a second.
the further apart, the deeper it goes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
What is
that's
it?
my understanding.
Yeah, the further apart they are,
The deeper it goes?
is it further
I thought it was
apart?
The further apart the electrodes are, the deeper the current goes. That's what I'm thinking. That's my general approach.
Yes.
Okay. So just keep it in mind. I'm not saying it needs to be a primary concern. I would say an average of 4 to 6 inches between the electrodes, if possible, is a good. If otherwise, you don't have any goal in terms of depth of penetration.
So I want to speak a
This is
little
a
bit
very
to
common.
the modes.
You see this? This is very common, very good. So this is the area that we're shooting for. So you've got.
B is what do you want? I call it the jackhammer.
That's two.
Channel, that's fine.
Kind of a jackhammer. Normal.
So here's channel 2
Sensation.
running together.
Modulated how I remember modulated.
And channel 1. There are other electric configurations, but far and away the most common setup.
Gently within a range. So it kind of ebbs and
Again,
flows.
most of the brands, most of the boxes work the same way. Hit the waveform, well again, it's kind of a, there are other parameters, but it's 1, 2, go. Hit the waveform, set the intensity, and go. So, hit the waveform, I press quad polar. On this particular machine, it's flashing intensity, which is telling me I can set intensity now. Okay? Now, in terms of sensation, so again, kind of depends. Could I turn quadpolar interferential up so high I could get a muscle contraction? Well, you could, but if you want a muscle contraction, that's not the best way for you to do that. If you want really efficient muscle contraction, that's why you go to Russian. So again, we're focusing on pain control. We're not looking for muscle contraction. You probably don't want that fact. You probably want to go up to where they feel it, maybe a little bit higher, because your body will acclimate over even 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes.
Waveforms in this little box are designed to reduce.
So basically, you just slowly start going up
We're going to start with
until
this
the patient gives you some
to get
feedback.
relief from it.
Now, of course, this leads to something else. If you've got, you would never hook anybody up if you feel like there's a communication
Everybody should
problem.
have their pulse width set at around 200
I mean, really,
or so.
you know. I'm not just talking about a language barrier, because even if you speak a different language, they can go,
Now, is this kind of a, so are you, is he feeling it, and is there, how much, what's the time between you feeling it and not feeling it?
well, it depends, everybody's different.
They usually feel a tingle. It'll go to a
You do
fast
feel it right?
vibration.
Okay, I'm sorry, this is what I need to hear. So let's stop for a second. So I was waiting for,
Your patient can't tolerate.
I was waiting for, so that's what you want, the patient, you get them up, you gotta get response, you gotta know, when do you feel it?
All right.
Okay, now let's take you up. Oh, you did, okay, all right, I need to know that. So let's, are you uncomfortable?
No, I just very gently.
You're not
That's what I do with
uncomfortable.
my patients.
I'm not telling we need to, but could you just, this is a good, could you take it? Could you handle more?
Current come through, but then you know it's on. You get that nice validating
What is the
light.
unit of the 15 and the 16? What is that?
Well, every waveform's different, every waveform's different. This is for cycles per second.
Now we're looking for
Let's not get too deep. Is that all right?
How you feel it move from area to area.
Correct. That's the nature of, that's the most popular parameter, where it's scanning is what it's doing. Okay? Now again, you can change that a little bit, but that's pretty common with quad polar interferential. It's scanning, it's called a vector, or vector. And so it's scanning a little bit from 80 to 150 cycles per second. Now you can change that, but again, let's not get too depth in protocol. Now at this point, what I was telling you before, so I just press accept, and the timer is now running, or off, and we can go do something else. Okay, but let's say he said, you know, I don't feel it, or something's not going right. If we press this balance button, you're not changing the overall intensity, you're balancing the output between the two channels. That's all you're doing, and the only reason you went there is because you know you surrounded. You better know you surrounded the right area, and the patient's telling you, I either don't feel comfortable, or how come I feel it over here and I don't feel it there? What's going on? Now, when I press balance and I start to turn this, you should feel a change in the sensation. Okay, see that? So this is your fine-tuning feature. It's like a teeter-totter. You're actually not changing the overall intensity. Whoops, see? And sometimes, now hold on now. Sometimes what I just did.
Well, no, it's what it's doing is it's going to the different,
Correct.
to the different electrodes.
Correct.
So it's like I can feel it
You're
here,
not
now I can
getting
feel it
worse
down
if the
here.
numbers go down the next day.
After we press the balance
So
button.
just
Well, and start moving it.
Yeah.
You open the balance feature and then you start turning the dial. So you do it yourself to get a feel. So, which leads me to something else. If you feel really comfortable with that particular patient, you know, in athletic environments where it's, you know, it's a different environment, they do it all the time. But if you feel like you're still standing there monitoring, I'm not telling you to let them alone. But sometimes people feel like, can I do that? If you're standing right here with them and it feels better, let them turn it and let them decide where to stop. Well, you can decide that. You know, it's kind of edgy for some clinics. They come out when they want to do that. I'm not suggesting you leave them alone and do that.
So can you feel it? Not
So don't show them how you open the balance feature.
It's about sensation.
Okay?
So can you feel it?
Well, like I'm letting him do this right now. Let him decide to understand.
No. So now you're going to turn it up until it feels
I just hit accept.
Accept again.
Yeah, accept.
Does
It took me a while to figure out how to turn those up.
Yeah.
Because once you hit accept, you can go like this on that. It doesn't,
So
I didn't realize you
number,
could channel for
Letting him choose where the current
Yeah, he's just moving. Exactly. That's it. And again, think of it as a balance or a teeter-totter. You're not changing the overall collective intensity. You're just changing the output. One is going up, the other one is going down simultaneously.
It must be like on one older
so
machine.
the
Yeah,
question
got one side that will balance it out. You know, the one turns up the intensity, and the other side, you go and from side to side. You'll feel the same kind of
Same idea.
same idea.
Is it a diaphragm?
that's
No, that's the
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even understand myself. Ours has two knobs. One
That opened up that ability for you to move that
intensity,
intensity between the channels. Okay?
Stay with me. I never know what the balance feature is because I don't think.
Okay, now, however, not to be mixed up with changing the balance. If you really did want to change the intensity on channel 1 or channel 2, then on this unit, you just come down here, you press channel 1 and change the intensity, press channel 2 and change the intensity. So if I just go down here, and then this is flashing again, I can change it.
They'll use it too much. You know,
It's
they'll
almost
overuse
activating
it.
now.
The patients like this,
Yeah, and that could be too high.
Probably is a little too high.
Is this where you're changing the frequency,
No.
the difference in the frequencies
No,
between each
intensity,
other?
volume.
Okay.